I'm Katie Kapler, and I'm excited to be here to tell you about our product, InScribe. InScribe is designed to help institutions scale high-quality learning support for their students. Did you know that students who receive high levels of academic support are actually 50% more likely to persist in their education? And that is so critical today when we have almost 2/3 of our students showing up underprepared for higher ed, meaning they need more support just to get through freshman year. But the very people that are there to support them have less time to give. Almost half of our instructors are part-time. They teach 5 courses a term often at multiple institutions. They simply don't have the time to give every student the intervention that they need. And so students get caught in the middle. They get frustrated, they lose confidence, and an enormous number of them drop out, which ultimately contributes to this retention problem that we have in higher ed, where we're losing $16 billion a year due to attrition. What does that mean? Less dollars at the organization and institution to spend on student support. So we have this sort of self-reinforcing cycle that we need to break. Now, a lot of organizations would tell you that the way to solve this problem is to add more humans to the system. But the truth is humans are expensive. They're hard to find, they're hard to train. There needs to be a better way. So we actually think this isn't so much a resource problem as it's a capacity problem. In fact, there's a huge amount of untapped capacity in the existing system. So think about it. In higher ed, even today, every instructor works alone, me with my 20, 25, 100 students. As a result, there's a huge amount of duplication of work. I'm answering the same question over and over again, class section over class section, and it's the same question that my colleague down the hall is also answering over and over again. There's also a huge resource that people often don't think about, which is the students themselves. So when you have duplication of effort and untapped capacity, these are not unique to education. In fact, these same problems have been solved in other industries through the application of collaborative economy. And so we are on a mission to bring collaborative economy to higher ed with a platform that reimagines the classroom workforce, and that's what InScribe does. InScribe helps institutions scale learning support without the need to add additional resources. Here's how it works. First, we connect communities of educators and students around particular subject areas like math or psychology, but these communities cut across traditional classroom boundaries. So where you used to have people kind of working alone, now you have whole communities working together to help one another. InScribe also integrates right alongside the existing digital curriculum. So when a student has a question, it is available 24 hours, 7 days to give that student extra support. And when they launch InScribe, they immediately have access to a repository of questions and answers and content that the community has previously shared. So for a lot of students, they can actually find the answer they need right away without the need for additional help. Now, that's not always the case, and so a student can submit a new question to the community. And now it's not just my instructor that can answer that question, it's any of the instructors or students in the community that can provide that support. And we're going to capture that interaction and make it reusable over time. So the next generation of students is going to benefit from the question I asked and the answer I received. InScribe really starts as a human-driven system, but we're also bringing in the elements of machine learning to help these human interactions become more scalable over time. Whether it's auto-tagging content to make it more useful and reusable, or better matching between the preferences of students and the attributes of content so that we're delivering the right intervention to the right student at the right time. We think machine learning is ultimately the system which is going to allow our application to scale beyond what individual instructors can provide. We're really here to serve all of the customers that we support. So for instructors, we are putting precious hours back in their day for them to actually spend on instruction. For students, we're not only providing that real-time support, but we're also helping them connect more readily with their peers so they feel a better sense of community and are more likely to stay in school. Ultimately, for the institution, that means a better retention number and more dollars back in their pocket. In fact, we believe that InScribe will pay for itself within the first semester that an institution is using it. We launched last fall with Arizona State Global Freshman Academy, and since then, we've also launched with St. Leo University and Indiana University, and we just renewed our contract with ASU, and we'll be moving into their online and on-ground courses in the fall. Overall, we'll be supporting over 100,000 students in our first year. We're also having a great impact. So just ASU by example, we've had a double-digit impact on the student completion and success rates in their course, and we help them achieve a 100-to-1 student-to-instructor ratio. So they're teaching more students more effectively with the same number of educational resources. We are supported by a team that has spent our entire careers working in education and technology. We've built applications that have delivered online learning to millions of students every year, and we've built technologies that were noted by Fast Company as top 10 most innovative education companies. So we are absolutely passionate about education, and we have the skills required to deliver on the mission that we're set out to achieve. We're initially focused in higher education, primarily on larger schools, 10,000 enrollments and above, and hyper-focused on schools that have online programs greater than 5,000. We are an enterprise model, so we charge between $5 and $10 per full-time enrolled student, per annual full-time enrolled student. The average deal size being about $150,000 across the segments of schools that we're working with. We think higher ed's about a $190 million market for us, but we're already looking at adjacent markets and have had conversations with folks in the corporate education space as well as the international higher ed space. We're projected to do $170,000 in revenue this year. 127 of that is already booked, with significant revenue growth over the next 4 years, largely driven by those annual reoccurring licensing agreements. We're looking for $500,000 in revenue and investment right now to help us achieve both an acceleration of product development in terms of acquiring additional development resources and also in terms of our go-to-market. So starting to build out our sales organization in order to reach the customer and revenue milestones that we're projecting. Thank you so much. I look forward to your questions.